developed by Butte County Public Safety Agencies with the assistance of Cal Fire Incident Command Team number 4. The evacuation plan and maps that you're going to see here, and you'll have be available to you on various websites through the county, are based upon a scenario involving a complete failure of Oroville Dam's emergency spillway. It's important to understand, though, that any number of variables may require us to modify the plan if it ever becomes necessary to issue an evacuation order. We have the ability to scale this plan depending on the circumstances or the potential emergency that we might be facing. This plan and the maps that we have are the basis for making decisions in the event that there is a need to issue an evacuation warning at some future point. The evacuation utilizes this map of the southern part of Butte County, which is divided into 11 separate zones. The zones cover the city of Oroville, Gridley, Biggs, and the surrounding unincorporated areas of Butte County around those particular cities. It goes from the Oroville Dam proceeding south to the Butte County line on both sides of the Feather River. Each zone has a recommended evacuation route, a public assembly point, and an evacuation center that people from those zones would be directed to if they didn't have another place to go. First off, with regard to the recommended evacuation routes, we looked to be able to move people as efficiently and safely as possible out of the affected areas, which is why we designated certain routes. We've also contemplated bringing emergency personnel into an affected area and have other routes that we would use for that purpose, thereby avoiding congestion between the two. The public assembly points are locations where people who are within the zone who don't have transportation out of the zone, or perhaps they're among the homeless population, could go to those assembly points, and then from there we would provide buses to transport those people out of the area and get them to safety. And then lastly, we have designated a number of evacuation centers located in different parts of the county based on the zone in which an individual lives in, taking into account the hazards that they would have to traverse to get to the various evacuation centers. We also want to be able to accommodate people at the various evacuation centers, so we have split those up to make room for anyone who might show up. Since the last evacuation, we have a much, much better understanding of what can go wrong. And as a result, we've built in early warning triggers, which we intend to use to alert people in zones that are potentially affected or there are problems, and if necessary, provide a much more timely or give people a great deal more time to evacuate the affected areas. Our goal would be to give people between 12 and 24 hours of notice and then stage the evacuations from the most affected zones to the zones that will be affected later in time. That will give us the opportunity to move people out of the zones, free up the roadways, and then make the evacuation notice in the next zone, obviously moving down the corridor to accommodate any of those zones that were going to be affected by whatever emergency or evacuation situation that we were looking at. We have a number of resources that we've put together that will allow the public to become familiar with this plan. And the thing that I want the public to take away, and that I hope that you can help us convey, is first off, know the zone that you live in. Know the zone that that is assigned to your area. Number two, know your evacuation route. Know how to get out of that area. And number three, have a place to go. If it's one of the evacuation centers, know where that is. If it's another location, make sure that you can get there as well. And then, of course, the fourth piece that we all have been talking about is be prepared. There are some resources on the website I'll tell you about in a moment that will allow you to think about what you need to ultimately be prepared. The web address for that website is buttecounty.net/OEM. You can also navigate to that particular website with all of the information that is on there by going to the Butte County Sheriff's website and clicking on the link from there. So there's multiple ways that you can do that at buttecounty.net/OEM. In addition to the information contained on that, we are also continuing to encourage people to sign up for our emergency mass notification system. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And I would also encourage people to spend some time looking at the site about emergency preparedness and the things that you need to consider before evacuation warning is ordered. In addition to the website, we have also scheduled a number of community meetings that will take place. We will have this information out at these community meetings. We'll also have the availability, people will have the ability to sign up for the mass notification, and myself and other members of our public safety teams will be present to answer any questions that people may have. As I've said time and time again, it's very important for the community to stay tuned in, to stay up to speed on what's going on. We're working very diligently to provide updates through various platforms, be it press briefings or news releases. I appreciate the media's assistance in helping us get the word out, but also through our social media pages. One of the primary ways, though, that we would communicate the need for evacuation is through our emergency notification system. And you can navigate to the sign up, the page that allows you to sign up, by clicking on that icon. Because if you have a problem signing up, if you have a problem getting on to the page and getting signed up for it, I want you to email my office at infosheriff@buttecounty.net. You can go back to this page and click right onto it. I want you to email your name, your address, and your telephone number, and one of my staff members will contact you and help you navigate through that process and get signed up. In addition to the emergency notification system, the other ways in which you can stay informed, and this is just a partial list because, quite frankly, there's a lot of entities and people in the community who are doing a great job of getting the information out and assisting us with getting information out. But you can also follow my department's social media pages because we're putting it out. I know that gets forwarded out through the Department of Water Resources. They have their own social media pages, which they're putting out great information in terms of what's going on with regard to the repair or remediation. But in terms of evacuation notices, emergency preparedness, things of that nature, we will continue to put that out. You can follow the Butte County Sheriff's Office on the Facebook page at BCSO News, or you can follow us on Twitter at Butte Sheriff. Those are our names on those two social media platforms. Number 4, make sure people with disabilities and active limitations have a plan, and they can click on that and they can sign up for that SNAP program. I want you to keep in mind, though, this is for people with disabilities and elderly people with disabilities. It's not for people who just don't have some form of transportation. So if you don't have some form of transportation, if you don't have a car, you need to think about how you're going to get to one of the public assembly points so that we can bus you out of there if necessary. I just want to say again, I can't say it enough, and words don't adequately express it, how thankful and appreciative I am of the citizens of Butte County for their efforts and their patience, and in many respects, their acts of courage and bravery and compassion through the course of this entire event. As I go around and learn more about the things that have transpired during the course of the evacuation, I am constantly amazed at how incredibly compassionate many members of our community are. They took people in, they helped people out. This was a situation where obviously it was chaotic, it was difficult, it was a burden, but the silver lining in this is that the community came together and really rose to the occasion, and I'm proud of them. I'm proud of that. I'm proud to be their sheriff. I think that we've demonstrated that as a community, Butte County can rise to the occasion and do what's necessary in times of crisis. I think this plan will enable us to do that even better. It will capitalize, as I said, on the lessons that we've learned. And then the last piece, of course, is I am extraordinarily proud of all of the public safety professionals in this county and my partners who rushed into an area that we thought might result in the loss of human life, and they did so without question. And I am proud to work with them and from the members of my department. Words don't express how proud I am to be their sheriff. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Acting Director Croyle, and he can make his comments from there.
On behalf of really all of the emergency responders, some you see here, but those that are up working on the dam, the Honea powerhouse and emergency spillway and stuff, the outpouring of the community in the form of letters, comments, emails, goodies that have been passed up to those really on the front line day and night to not only address this emergency response phase that we're in right now, but that information is being passed throughout all of our groups to make sure that we feel the support from this community. That helps keep everyone going. The weather's nice right now, but it hasn't always been that way here over the last 4 weeks. With the amazing weather, we've had the benefit of some really cool weather up canyon. The water surface, the inflows, the reservoir kind of been stayed on the forecast. And so we've now set a new target of 865 feet. So what we want to be able to do is use additional lake storage so that when we do turn the emergency spillway, the flood control spillway back on, that allows us to run a little longer at a lower flow rate. That also allows the debris removal teams to be able to work in next to those higher flows with the higher power plant on, with the spillway being operated. That allows us to move a little bit more water out at a little lower rate, but a longer period of time. That helps us with downriver conditions, stabilize those conditions, again, making the Hyatt kind of another dial that we can turn. So right now we're targeting March 17th as kind of a date that we would look at needing or wanting to turn that spillway on. If we continue to have the inflows into the reservoir that we were forecasting, and the reservoir stays below that 865 elevation we've now set as a target, then we might delay that. But yet, again, every day, twice a day, we're looking at weather conditions, we're modeling the reservoir inflows and outflows, condition of the Hyatt powerhouse. If we had to turn on earlier, we would. But our goal is to delay that as long as we can. And part of that, again, is to allow us to continue that debris removal at the bottom of the hill, as well as when we do turn it on, we can run longer at a kind of a design flow. Right now, we're planning on, when we do spill the reservoir, about 40,000 cubic feet per second. That would be in addition to the 13,000 that we're ramping up to today. So making a total of about 53,000 cubic feet per second moving down the river. So this would be about 1/3 of the capacity of the flood control system downstream. So these would not be, these are kind of typical flows that we would see with this kind of a wet season. The idea though is to not have, minimize the river levels moving up and down quite a bit. But one thing I want to add on this, the floodway is not the place to visit when these kinds of flows from the system. So we don't want people moving into those areas and putting themselves at risk as these water surfaces are changing around. This is a flood control system, and it is flood season. We don't want to put additional emergency responders at risk by trying to make sure that those people that really should not be in those within that floodway in there this time of year. That goes for the entire flood control system all the way into the Delta region.
Again, to get to these maps, to get to the information about being prepared, to sign up for the mass notification system, to sign up for SNAP, you go to Butte County, BUTTECOUNTY.net/OEM. That's how we get to that. And we'll continue to monitor those questions and respond to them as we go.